So let's get to this. So this morning we have Mark here. Mark is a friend of mine. He's an artist manager. Somebody that is always on the go, on the grind, a very, very hard worker, knows his stuff and has been very successful at his craft. So he's here to speak with us this morning about basically what he does, give us some background, tell us what an artist manager does, how does an artist manager decide which artist to work with, and all that other good stuff. So let me just get out the way and shut up and allow Mark to take us away. Mark, the senior class.
Good morning, senior class. How are everybody doing this morning? Can everybody hear me?
They did a little shy. You got to forgive.
Okay.
They're here. Trust me, they're here, and they're here.
Okay, no problem. So again, my name is Mark Pinnock. I'm the CEO of Natural Bridge Records. We're an independent record label that's based here in New York and also in Jamaica. Again, I'm nationality, I'm Jamaican. And basically I do all type of genre in terms of, from a management standpoint, in terms of artists. So I started out in the business back in 1992 from a dancehall reggae standpoint. Just to give you a couple of my resume in terms of artists that I've managed, that have gone on to be very successful in their respective genre. And we'll start with mainly dancehall, which is my niche market. My first artist that I discovered was an artist by the name of Lexus, now known as Mr. Lex. And basically I took him from, I like to work with what I call the diamond in the rough, artists that are not on, artists that are not developed, so I can literally take them from obscurity and kind of mold them and make them into what they will potentially become. So I worked with Mr. Lex, who hands down at one stage was probably the hottest dancehall artist, I would say in the late 90s. From there, I worked with the likes of Luciana. I was part of Luciana's original management team. From there, I moved on to an artist I worked with. I'm sure everybody heard of Buju Banton, but then you had another artist by the name of Mega Banton, which I also was a part of his management team. From there, I moved on to an artist by the name of Mr. Pepper. Now, Mr. Pepper is an interesting artist because Mr. Pepper's brother is a famous producer by the name of Steely from the group Steely and Clevie, which hands down have made some of the biggest dancehall records to date. So I managed Mr. Pepper. From there, I moved on to hands down, currently probably one of the top 5, I would say top 10 dancehall artists right now. His name is Conscience. So these are all artists that I've taken from nothing and turned them into what I would consider to be, whether it's by Jamaican standard or US standard, millionaires, being able to provide for their family, and have gone on to greater things. I've been in the business probably about 30 years. Natural Bridge as an entity is broken down into several different sectors, i.e. being a management sector, also a label, and also a publishing house. So these are various components that I pretty much run. But my niche is artist management, but I also produce. I have the label side, which I do. I've produced some very big dancehall records. And I also have my own publishing house, being Natural Bridge Publishing. So let's talk about, and you guys will eventually meet my new artist that I'm working with. His name is DeRoyce. He heads up diversity, which also encompass J Dutch and Big Dream. We're like family, and they will be performing later down after I finish my closing arguments. So let's talk about artist management. So for me, every artist management have a different approach. For me, again, as I said, I like to work with artists that are relatively unknown. I'm not one who is keen on working with artists that's already developed. Again, as I said, I like to work with artists that are unknown, that are really just scratching the surface, trying to find their way, and then I will step in, and with my expertise, I will try and just bring them to the forefront. Some of the prerequisite and, requirements that I look for in an artist is humility, being humble, hungry, having that drive, that determination, in terms of wanting it. And at the same token, being easy to work with. It's very important when you have an artist that is hungry, who is driven, but at the same token, easy to work with. So those are the components that I look for in an artist. Once we have discovered that we can work together, basically I do what is called a rollout. And that is basically, you take that artist from obscurity, probably never did a photo shoot, probably relatively mild recording, and you basically start developing that artist from the ground up. And that is how to handle Q&As in terms of when they go on radio interviews, how to record, where I would put my producer's hat on. Developing an artist also encompass rehearsal. If you're going to do what we consider to be a true rollout in regards to how you develop an artist, and that is artist development. You have to basically touch on all areas in terms of where you're trying to develop this artist. Because remember, you're taking an artist who has no experience. The only thing he has is his raw talent, and that is his vocal abilities. Now, you will now have to add all the other pieces to make this artist a household name. And again, as I said, that encompasses artist development, and that is from how you speak when you do an interview, how you look in terms of from an appearance, stage performance. And all of those are the variable components that encompass in terms of developing an artist. And as I said, personally, for me, I like to work with artists that are raw. I tend not to try and deal with artists that are already on, for the simple fact that when an artist is already established and you kind of take over that artist, sometime, again, I'm not saying that I won't. I've just not found myself in a position that I truly like to work with artists that are on already, because they come with baggages. And for me, I don't like baggage. So I tend to just kind of stay away from them. Let me see. As far as the responsibility of an artist, what an artist management does, outside of the whole development aspect. Once you have developed this artist, then you basically, on a day-to-day basis, once this artist gets going, or what we would consider to start pop, the phones start ringing. So now you have to deal with contracts in terms of bookings, whether it's for a show or it's for a tour date. The artist manager is responsible for handling all of that. The artist manager is also responsible for pretty much downline delegate in terms of assigning a road manager to these artists when they start going on the road. Having a publicist around to keep what we would consider to be a propaganda machine, keep them visible in terms of, the press, social media, everything of that nature. So basically that's it. So once an artist becomes relevant, not only just from a touring standpoint or from a show standpoint, where I now have to handle all of that affairs, but it's my job also to handle any type of an endorsement that this artist might come entangled with in terms of from a brand recognition standpoint, whether say a Nike might reach out, or a Pepsi-Cola, anything of that sort. It's my responsibility to see if this is something from a negotiation standpoint that I want to get involved with. So basically that's my job. It pretty much details everything. Good morning. Everything that deals with the artist's career. That's basically what an artist management does. You know what I mean? And again, to be honest, artists are like kids. You're basically taking them, and you're basically taking them from the baby steps to allowing them to creep, and then allowing them to be able to walk. And that's basically it. You know, as I said, we handle just about everything. You know, you will meet DeRoyce, you will meet J Dutch, you will meet Big Dream, and these are young artists that are on the rise that you guys should get familiar with. I'm sure at that point in time when they get on, they'll give you their Instagram info. We're working a single right now called Groove, that which they will be performing. And yeah, basically, I am turning these young guys into a household name. Probably within a year from now, you will say, "Hey, those was the guy that Mr. Morris had on his Zoom call." Hopefully, with your support in terms of following them on Instagram and supporting their music. Someone said, "Need an assistant?" Sure, we could talk about that. There's always room for me to try and get an internship program going. You know, I mean, I have no problem with that in regards to teaching people the business and you know, getting them involved with Natural Bridge. That's definitely not a problem. So we could talk when we're finished. I see you sent me your info.
Oh, she's playing no games, man. She done sent the email, everything. That's what I'm talking about now, Lee.
Absolutely. That's the hustle. That for me, that definitely impresses me right off the back. So for sure, I'll definitely talk to. I think her name was Nalia, if I'm correct. Yeah. We'll definitely talk. For sure, but that is part of the key component and ingredients that you really need in the music business, and that is I'm talking about across the board. The music business is a hustling game, right? In all fairness, I have a degree in hotel management, minor in travel and tourism. I pretty much self-taught myself this business, and I mean I've been doing this since 1992. And it has paid my bills. I've had some level of notoriety. And presently, my end game on a whole is I'm trying to acquire what is called a PND, which is a product and distribution deal. And with the help of DeRoyce, Big Dream, and J Dutch, and the rest of my outfit, as far as the artists that I have under my label, that's what I'm trying to ascertain. And basically what that is, it's basically me spending my money initially, creating and galvanizing a movement in terms of a buzz and making the artists respectively that I just highlighted, being DeRoyce, J Dutch, Big Dream, making them become a household name, creating a record that pops and becomes familiar with everybody, whether it's via TikTok, whether it's via Instagram, whether it's on Spotify. My end game is to make these guys records and as an artist become a household name. And basically what we're trying to do is to acquire that momentum and being able to dictate the terms of what we want to work under. You know what I mean? So basically that's it. Everybody wants to be signed to a label. Yes, but the business has changed so much that it is within artists' best interest. And me as a manager, what I'm trying to secure for my guys is to make sure that they have ownership of their product, right? And how I do that, again, as I said, I spend my own money. We cultivate a movement, a buzz, and basically one of the big threes, whether it's Warner Music or Sony or Universal, they will see what we're doing, or any other sub-label, being Atlantic or Epic Records. They see what we're doing at Natural Bridge with DeRoyce, Big Dream, and J Dutch. And they say, hey, I like what Mark over at Natural Bridge is doing with those guys. I like the record they're promoting, being Groove. Let's take a chance with them. And providing that whatever paperwork is sent over, once we go to the negotiation table to say, hey, listen, this is where we at in terms of from a negotiation standpoint. One of our key goals is to say, okay, we started it. So basically we want to maintain ownership of our masters, dictate when we put out record, how we put out record, you know what I mean? Having creative control. So that is part of what a manager does also, securing the best interest for their artists, right? And again, as I said, it's basically knowing exactly what you want in the initial stage of working with an artist. Some artists will say, hey, well, probably I want to be signed to a major. Again, everybody's different, you know what I mean? So it's how you establish a working relationship with your artists, and basically their end game and what they want for their career. But again, as I said, from a management standpoint, and a manager does about everything. You know what I mean? Believe it or not. How an artist look? Do you comb your hair? I mean, making sure they're up early for their tour once they're, they don't miss flights. You know what I mean? Because again, as I said, artists are like kids, believe it or not. I mean, as old as they are, you at time will have to, and I'm sure Royce and Dream and Dutch are over there laughing right now. But because I am that type of person. I'm a stickler for perfection, staying on top of my artists, making sure that they understand that they will one day become executive themselves. As I highlighted before, that DeRoyce and Dream and Dutch, they have their own little movement, their own little label called Diversity. So it is within my interest that I teach them the right and proper way going forward in terms of how they conduct themselves, not only as an artist, but eventually as an executive. Someone sent a message a while ago. I'm sorry, I got distracted. I didn't really see the message. So if you could resend it, I'd appreciate it. And if anybody has, I'll open the floor. If anybody has any questions, they can ask me in regards to if I left out anything. I know I've been rambling on for a minute, but yeah, that's basically it. As a manager, we basically do everything. We do everything. You know what I mean? We kind of ward off the groupies when the groupies come around. We make sure we protect our artists. We make sure we keep our artists out of, is a manager and a producer.
Same thing.
It's a manager produce the same thing.
No. A manager basically take care of an artist's affairs. A producer is someone who basically works in the studio with the artist from a music standpoint, from a creative standpoint, creating the music. A manager will step in. Can you personally sign some? Can you personally sign some?
So Mark, when the questions come in, we'll read them from here.
Yep. Could you do that for me, please?
Yes, definitely. We'll read them. Can you personally sign somebody? That's the next question.
Oh, well, there are different type of signings. Let's be clear on that. There are different kind of signing. I can sign someone from a managerial standpoint. I can also sign someone to my label, and I can also sign someone to my publishing house. So when you have to be a little bit more clearer in regards to when you're saying signing. But yes, from my standpoint, if you recall me highlighting earlier, that Natural Bridge is an outfit that has 3 arms presently, and that is, as a label, I can sign. So me signing someone to my label is basically that I am signing someone to put out their music. And that's what the label side does. I can sign someone to the management side, which is basically what I'll be doing on that angle, is basically managing the artist's affair. And then we have a publishing house. And a publishing house is basically like an artist's pension or a 401k plan in terms of, right, where you're basically securing the artist's future. And publishing is basically where an artist records his music, and that's how he gets paid on the back end, not only from performing, but also from royalties and securing the rights to his intellectual property as far as the music that he has put out. So that's what a publishing house does. So Natural Bridge is a publishing house, a label, and a management company. So yes, you can sign an artist on any different level. So I'm not sure which level you're talking about, but personally for me, being Mark Pinnock and the CEO of Natural Bridge, I can sign an artist on any one of those arms, be management, be a label, or be from a publishing standpoint. Any other questions?
Yeah, so you mentioned earlier that that you're a part of a management team. Now, a lot of times when we think about management, we think it's just this one person making all kinds of things happen. So what would a manager team look like? Like what kind of positions each person would have on a management team?
Sure, that's a good question. So a management team, again, will encompass probably the head, which is the actual manager. But then he will probably have an assistant. And then you will have a road manager. A road manager is someone who basically is in the office. He spends more time around the artist. This has to be someone who the artists are comfortable with, right? Because they're going to spend majority of the time with the artists. And that is, they're going to be on the road with the artist. They're going to make sure that when they get to a hotel, the artist doesn't do that type of work. They kind of fall, the artist kind of lay back. The road manager, he checks them in. He makes sure their rooms are on point. He's the one who actually deal with the promoters as far as money, collecting the money when the shows is over. You know what I mean? He makes sure the artist, he babysits the artist on the road. That's his job. So that's part of the management team. You also have part of the management team. You have security details in terms of bodyguard. That's also part of the management team. Yes. And you have a publicist who's also part of the management team. And what a publicist does, again, as I said, this is a person who basically, if the artist just puts out a new record, this is a person who I would now instruct to say, hey, listen, can we get some press coverage on this? And this person will now hit the blog sites up, whether it's World Star, whether it's a Shade Room, whether it's Hip Hop Dot, whether it's Hip Hop Nation. This person is responsible for create what we consider to be the propaganda machine. This is the person who gets everything out to the press, in regards to what the artist is doing. This is the person who protects the artist also in the event of a Cardi B exposing her boobs. You know what I mean? This is a person who will do what we consider to be damage control in terms of, making sure that whatever goes out to the press goes out to the press the right way. You know what I mean? In terms of, just basically covering up, sweeping stuff under the rug that doesn't need to be out there. So that is all part of the management team. If I've brought some clarity where that is concerned.
Yeah, that's great. The next question we have in the chat is, what kind of schooling do you need to be a manager, if you have to go to school at all for that?
Funny enough, again, as I said, as I highlighted, I have a degree in hotel management, minor in travel and tourism. I literally self-taught myself the business. Yes, you do have schools that offer managerial course, and also like in audio engineering and all that stuff, you do have that. But I guarantee you, if you look at 90% of the executive that's in the business right now, they're all self-taught. And we can go from a Jay-Z who heads up Rock Nation, never went to school for being the CEO of Rock Nation. You know what I mean? And the list goes on and on. I mean, you name the brightest. You have like a JD Dapper, who is the VP over at Epic Records. These are guys that literally just kind of climbed the food chain, right? And what I mean by that is they started off just like, what is it, Nelia or whatever her name is, just hit me up and say, hey, how can I come on board? And Nelia comes on board. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. And basically she comes on board as an intern, and she works her way up the food chain. She literally comes in and she starts from just sending out fax, probably getting coffee for DeRoyce, going to the mall and buying DeRoyce's sneakers, and works her way up. While she's on the job, she learns. Her ears is open, her eyes are focused, and she basically learns. And the more she's engaged within the organization, be it, say, a Natural Bridge, she will learn stuff. She will now learn how to book a flight. She will learn how to, probably go on the road with the artist in terms of how to check an artist in a hotel. You know what I mean? She will learn how to look at a contract and know my brain just kind of went blank for a minute. Come on, jump in, Dwayne. What when you go on the road, what we get when we go on the road again? A per diem. She will learn what a per diem is. You know what I mean? So there's so much as she goes along, she'll be engaging more and more. And the more we're, say, a Mark feel trustworthy of her, he will expose her to more stuff, and she will learn and she will learn and she will learn. And before she know it, she has literally absorbed everything. So I say this as far as the music business, the best training is to be hands-on. You know what I mean? I don't think no book can teach you, but everybody who's in this chat, I will implore you to go out and buy this book called This Business of Music. And it has just about every sector of the music business, where you can sit down and read about publishing, about royalties, about mechanical rights. I'm sorry, what you said, Dwayne?
I said I have it here.
Oh, absolutely. I think we all do.
Yeah, post that in the chat.
Yes, that's the Bible of the music business. So again, guys, This Business of Music. And it tells you everything. It literally explains everything about the music biz. You know what I mean? Again, as I said, from royalties, publishing, mechanical rights, from touring, from what is a per diem, what's a rider in terms of an artist rider. And basically an artist rider is when an artist goes out on tour. Each artist have, again, as I say, artists are like kids. So an artist will have what is called what he requires when he goes on tour, what he wants when he's backstage, what type of hotel he wants to stay in, what type of car he wants to be picked, to pick him up at the airport. That's all part of a rider, right? And the bigger an artist is, the more complex his rider is. And then you have artists that, as far as on their rider, they'll tell you, I must have room temperature water, or I must have Skittles backstage, or I must have Trident gum backstage before I perform. So that's all part of a rider. So, again, as I said, you will learn. So for me, to answer the question, hands-on is the best training in terms of coming up in the music biz. And half of these executives that are presently in their position, they will tell you they started as an intern, whether it's at Def Jam, whether it's at Rock Nation, whether it's over at Epic. A lot of these record executives now that have literally been on the grind for 10, 15 years are now executives, and they started out as interns.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, because my internship, I was a writer back for a couple of artists, and it was to the point where, like, the Skittles, the artists who like Skittles, they only like a certain type of Skittles, so we had to take out like all the green Skittles.
Yes,
and it's that bad. They get that picky.
Oh yeah, they get that picky. And again, as I said, it goes back to the same thing, that artists are like kids. You can, no matter how old they are, you cannot get that out of them. And as I said, the bigger they become, the more childish you will see that they exhume at times, in terms of, i.e. in their rider, what they require, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? So basically that's it. But next question.
The next question in the chat. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, read the question in the chat. That's fine.
No, the next question in the chat is what kind of connects do you need to build for you to be successful at being a manager?
Boy, that's a real tough one, because I'm presently in that phase right now where, every day you're trying to connect the dots. Every day you're trying to connect the dot. And it's a grind. It's really a grind. I mean, I talk to my guys every day. Like presently, they'll be performing a song called Groove in a few minutes. And it's a really good record. I mean, you guys will hear it, and I would definitely want your feedback. And for example, we talk about this every day. If a Frank Ocean, if a Bruno Mars did this record Groove, this record would have no problem in regards to finding itself on urban radio, would have no problem with finding itself on BET Jams. But because Natural Bridge is an indie label working with unknown artists who definitely has talent, who definitely have found a big record, it's a daunting task, and you basically have to use every connect that you have. The music business is not a cheap business. It's a very expensive business. Doing a rollout like what I'm doing right now, and I'll be very honest, that is one of the biggest problems we have right now as an indie label. You know what I mean? Because as an indie label, you're a startup. And one of the big problems that any startup company, not just the music business, whether it's a Fortune 500 company 10 years from now, it's always finance. It's always about the money, right? And that is one of the biggest problems I'm having right now. Let me put that out there. Connecting the dots and having the money, the machinery to work a record the right and proper way. Because you're going up, it's like David versus Goliath. You know what I mean? You have a good record, you have a good product, but it's you're going up against the Rock Nations, you're going up against the Epic, who have a fully oiled machine, well-financed, connecting all the dots. And here is little Natural Bridge now trying to navigate, compete on the same landscape as these big labels. But again, to answer the question, you have to have faith, you have to believe in your brand. And the good thing about modern day music is that we have what is called social media. And if you can assemble a good team of social media juggernauts to kind of help you where that is concerned, you start there, which it's, you know, I mean, you can do what we call ad promotions and everything, which again, a lot of you guys after you finish will be following us, and you will see our journey in regards to this record. We're committed to this record being groove until next summer. You know what I mean? And you might say, wow, that's next summer. But if you believe in a record and you know you're up against the giants, you have to keep what we consider to be an omnipresence, and that is via social media. Use your connects in terms of, you know what I mean, DMing people on social media like radio DJs to say, hey, listen, take a listen to this record. Hopefully one will. We have been, you know, blessed that we have a radio department, and we have people who are urban DJs that are on urban radio right now. So we have built a roster of connecting the dots with people who are in position. But this took me years. This wasn't just overnight. This is me taking guys out to dinner. You know what I mean? This is me basically, you know, when Christmas comes around, you know, sending the new PlayStation, you know, giving gifts. You know, these are all part of the, you know what I mean, the whole connecting the dot, networking, you know what I mean? And, you know, countless hours on the phone, you know what I mean? Again, as I said, taking guys out to dinner, you know, trying to kind of will them in regards to, you know, coming on board and, you know, kind of conjuring up that level of support for whatever product or project you're working on. You know what I mean? So it's a process, and it's a very tedious process. And one has to exercise just about every skill that's in the book, which again, as I said, that can't be taught. You know, in terms of, for me, in a classroom, you basically, it has to be hands-on. You know what I mean? You just utilizing, you know, your God-given talent in terms of common sense, you know what I mean? You know, being courteous, being polite, you know, being able to accept rejection, because you get that day in, day out. You know what I mean? I live in people DMs on social media. I make phone calls, I send emails out. And I mean, some will respond, some won't. Because again, what I tend to find in terms of where the music business is concerned, people have selective memory. And the way how music is being made so quickly and easily now, our attention span to music is so short. You know, we're on to the next thing. So it's really, really hard. You know what I mean? But again, as I said, you just have to persevere. You just have to, you know, be able to take rejection. And at the end of the day, just know that, listen, you just have to just fight, just fight, just push.
Get it for the work. Mark, sorry. I don't want us to we want to hear the song.
Yes.
I know the guys are online, so we have like a little under 20 minutes to go. And
okay. I hope I know I've been rambling on, but I hope you know, what was conveyed to the class was very informative. I would be happy to, you know, give my info online, you know, whether it's my phone number that, you know, anyone can call me, my email, my Instagram account. You know, I am someone who's very open. I'm someone who's always accessible and easy to work with. And with that said, I'll turn it back over to Dwayne, and I appreciate the time, and thank you so much for having me.
Wow. That was a lot. Thank you. Are the guys here? I just want to.
Yes. I think they're there. I think they're just muted.
Fine.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing?
Where are your videos on? I'm not.
We have. I can see it.
Yeah, I see him now. I see him now.
I see.
Yeah, it's under the name Diversity.
There you go. Oh yeah. Hold on.
Who that?
Oh yeah.
Who that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Let me spotlight. Hold on a second. I don't know what. Okay, spotlight for everyone. There you go.
There you go.
And what's up?
Yep.
How y'all doing?
What's up, everybody?
How y'all doing? I go by the name of DeRoy.
J Dutch right here.
Diversity. How y'all doing today?
Can we get a year in the chat? I gotta see like how many people. It's no good morning.
It's 90. It's 19 of us here right now. Yeah, this is the senior class. Yeah. So, gentlemen, I mean, what we want to see is we want to hear music, man. So,
right now, y'all ready for the music?
yeah, we're
Yep.
ready.
Get it here one more time.
You're we gonna start.
You're
Start that. This song's called Groove. Y'all ready to know? Flip it up.
I'm trying to get into
I'll spin one time.
baby. I'm trying to set the mood, cruise with you, baby. I'm trying to get into groove with you, baby. I'm trying to set the mood, groove with you, baby. I'm trying to get into I'm just trying to get tuned with you. Them other girls ain't gonna like you, yeah. I'ma get you in the mood, baby. I'ma show you how a real player move, yeah. Let me get your baby. Them other girls just stop it. Don't be trying to get late. Shake it, just slide right to the button. Girl, your body like perfection. When I start to feel like damn, I could swim inside that ocean now, yeah. I don't want it to end.
I'm just trying to feel a vibe with you. I'm just trying to feel alive with you. I can really rather die with you. You can give me Addy, I can slide with you. But I gotta do business, listen. I ain't worried about the women different. I be feeling when you distant, listen. When you sit up in the sun, I be wishing I get lost with you. It don't matter when it costs with you. Yeah, I'ma be a boss with you. If you move off the block, you be cross with you. What I do when I see a dude talk to you. Yeah, I know you gon' be mad at this. Cause you sound like a pacifist. Go brand what you had to get. Don't matter, you the baddest chick. Love off, get that man, it can't exist.
I'm trying to set the mood, baby. I'm trying to get into groove, baby. I'm trying to set the mood, baby. I'm trying to get into
Baby, you're more than enough. I never get enough of your love. They gon' struggle, that's a dub. I can give you way more than just plain no lust, then it's done. It's the weekend, now let's get naughty. By the end of the night, I'm hoping it's body to body. Passion and vulnerability, deep in his body. I mean, it's shabby cause I'm bigger than Kasaga. Get it, the way you make me feel is totally different. So any life is over after experience. You mind your heart, I know you what I'm missing. Y'all my town, can't force addiction. You're a danger when I look up and see a bar in the sky. Angels are talking to me, exactly how. So left you a couple years here just so I can find you. And now you and I made it, we can find this spot.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to set the mood with you, cruise with you.
Get it, bro.
I'm trying to get into with you, cruise with you.
Yes, sir.
Baby.
Yes, sir.
yeah.
I'm trying to set the mood.
Yes, sir. Y'all enjoy what y'all see?
Yo, that's real catchy. I like that.
I appreciate that. Huh?
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Again, it's called Groove, Groove. You can find that everywhere. Every streaming platform. You feel me? Y'all want to follow us on the gram too? My gram is DeRoyce, DeRoyce official. You can find you at
J Dutch, right here, JAYDUTCH _.
You can find me at BIIG Dreams World. Yes, sir.
You feel me?
Nice.
Can you guys repeat that again? Can you guys repeat that?
Can somebody post that in the chat? That'd be a little bit better than when you got to keep repeating. Just have somebody post in the chat.
I go by DeRoyce, DeRoyce official. That's my gram.
JAYDUTCH
Underscore.
J Dutch.
J Dutch underscore.
JAYDUTCH _.
Yes, sir. And it's BIIG Dreams World.
You feel me?
That's what's up.
Big Dreams World, J Dutch underscore DeRoyce official.
Yes, sir.
We're
Got
gonna
it.
type it in for y'all though. We're gonna type it in.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Super
Yeah,
people everywhere.
I think I have it right. So, gentlemen, I mean, guys, we have some time with them. So, ask your questions. Ask your questions.
Yes,
That's
sir.
the way we here.
That's the way.
Do y'all need an assistant?
Hey, you heard my manager. Hit him up. Hit him up. Hit him up.
Guys, how did y'all get started in the music? Like, how did it get to here?
Pardon my language. So basically, this gentleman right here, he was rapping since how long?
Since like 16, maybe.
16. Yeah, we made
before that.
Before that.
Before that.
We made our first song at 14, but I wasn't jacking that. I ain't like that song. So I quit rapping, whatever. I was doing what I do. I went to college, whatnot. But then I started going with him to the studio a lot. And I was liking the vibes. I'm like, yo, this calm. I like this. The energy and everything. So I'm like, yo, I got a nice voice. Let me try to make music. See how I sound. So I started. It was in the beginning, but I got so much support that I just kept going. I got better so fast. Like in a year time, I leveled up OD. So I've been doing music for 3 years now. So you feel me? That's how I started. Cause this gentleman right here. How you started?
Then I started because of them. Like I really started in film. Like I went to school for media composition. I had my hands on with the video camera and stuff. And then I was around them all the time, going to the studio, like recording for them. And then after a while, like I started to hop on the tracks with them. So it's like now I'm here making a song with them, and that's what we're doing.
Years later, we formed Diversity.
Yes,
and
sir.
This game right here, his family right here.
Yeah,
we go back way before the music.
We go back
way before music.
We knew each other since 6th grade.
Yeah, I know him since 6th. I knew him since 3rd grade. So keep my circle small. You feel me? It's good chemistry, good energy. You feel me? Good vibes.
Nice. Guys, if you do have questions, I have a ton. So I'm giving you guys time to answer questions.
It's cool.
We here. We got nothing but time.
All right. Let me ask my in terms of like schooling, I noticed you guys said y'all went to college, right?
Nah, I went to college for like a year, for like a semester and a half.
Yeah, and you stopped.
Yeah.
Explain that process. And yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Basically, you good. Basically, I was trying to go to honestly, I didn't know exactly what my major I wanted to do with my life because I just graduated out of high school. And you know your parents want you to go to college, which y'all should go to college still. But me, I wasn't sure and I wasn't really into it. So I wasn't really into schoolwork. But then I found music and then my parents started to see music was my real passion. So they supported my dream, which I appreciate them so much. And then look, it's paying off. So you feel me? That's my situation. How about you? Because he went to college too.
Yeah, I went to college for a little bit, 2 years. I graduated and everything. I'm still interested in what I was doing. It's just I got my hands in with the music now. Like I still like film, I still like doing video stuff, but I want to incorporate that within the music as well later on. So this is like a stepping stone for me. Like this is how I'm first getting in the door.
So don't be like me, be like this guy. He graduated. Stay true, guys. Yeah.
So what about I noticed like right now a lot of rappers it's mostly like violence and stuff like that. I notice you guys' music is not promoting violence, and why is that route? Why not?
Because the group we call Diversity. We don't. I never was the type to be a follower. I just do my own stuff. Like I grew up listening to so much genres, like because I'm Puerto Rican and Jamaican, so I listen to salsa, for reggaeton, like house music. Like I'm all over the place, rock music. Like I listen to so much different genres. I'm like, yo, I could do it all. I'm not scared to experiment and try new things. So I don't really I don't see myself following the trend to be lit or nothing. I make good music. Music's universal, you feel me?
Mm-hmm. And I'm the same way. Yeah. Like I like music that I can vibe to. Like I like everything. I like rock, I like rap, I like jazz, I like everything. I started off listening to rock actually, and then I transitioned to hip hop. And the reason why I'm not really into that, like, you know, talking about like gangs and like, you know, killing and stuff is like, cause I was in that, like I was in that environment. So I know like that's not the type of lifestyle that I want to go down, and I don't want to promote that to the little kids who's like listen to my music. I want to create something that's different that can better them. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to go down that way. So I promote it.
And then for that reason, that's why we created diversity, because he's Dominican, he's Caribbean. We make so much we could bring so much different vibes. Like they really mostly like not mostly, but yeah, mostly like lyricists and stuff. And they make conscious music, but they can still make jiggy songs like I just heard. So that's what I'm saying. We everywhere with it. That's why we created diversity, because we different nationalities. We come from a diverse city. Feel me, New York City, and we can bring diverse music into it.
Yes, sir.
Feel me? So that's why we.
Nice. What's usually the process for making songs? Like, do you get a beat or do you start writing? What's the process?
For me personally, I can't just start writing randomly, because I'm like a melodic person. I like creating melodies first before I create words. So I listen to a beat first, and then I just mumble. You hear me mumbling, you think I'm crazy, and you just hear mad melodies, and then once I find melodies I like, then I start putting words to the song, and then that's how I make my music.
Sidebar, this room right here that you see, like, this is where all the music happens. This is where groove was created. Like, whenever we make like a hit that you're gonna hear in the future, like it came from here. Like, this is a vibe in here, and like we always come here to create, and we always bouncing off ideas from each other, and it always works. We got more to come. That's just one that y'all heard. There's way more. And
we made groove like in what?
That was like 3 hours. Like we made groove in like 3 hours.
We wrote the song in like an hour.
And then recorded it.
Everything recorded like till like 3 hours. Yeah.
How you like to... Sorry, you guys created the beat from, or it's a YouTube?
We found a beat on YouTube. This song was created randomly. I wasn't even gonna come over here. He called my phone. He's like, "Yo, come on, I'm outside. We out to D crib." So we came here. We was chilling. And it's like, "Yo, let's make a song together." Somebody said it, and then I was finding the beats. The first beat we found, put it on, was groovy, and then rest is history.
Wow. What has been the experience? I mean, in terms of like surviving the reality of the music industry, like how do you guys live? I mean, do you earn from this? What's the reality of this thing?
Oh yeah, definitely earning. I'm not earning $100,000, but you feel me? It's something. And we earning here and there. So it's motivation still. We still grinding. So you know you're upcoming.
Everybody starts from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still working my job on the side. At one point, I was working 2 jobs just to profit, to make money so I can get into the studio, just so I can make budgets for music videos and stuff like that. So it's like you kind of have to hustle to get to where you want to be, and not everything in life is easy. You got to work for, you know, the lifestyle that you want, you know. So,
wow, good. Is life outside of high school what you imagined?
I never imagined doing music or nothing. Like it just happened. It's crazy.
Yeah. What I mean, what did you have in your head? I mean, you're like, these guys are seniors now, and you're leaving high school. What was it like for you in senior year, and what were you looking forward to leaving high school?
I was just trying to find myself, my path. I was just unsure. Trying to do something. I needed a career, so you know that out of high school, you like panicking. You like, what I want to do? What's my major? What's this? What's that? So
like straight out of high school, I went straight to work. You know, I was working at a restaurant, and you know the passion just found me. Like after a while, you know, because like I started making music I started making beats at 14, started writing at 16, and then we started doing it at the same time. You know, making music. So it's just all a blessing, and you know, it's your passion. This is what we love to do. And like this, you know, just the feeling when you get when you make a record is amazing. It's like no other. So like when you're doing something that you love genuinely, what to do is like it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like work. It's just, you know, something that you were here to do. You know?
Especially when you're doing it with family.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like we know each other like behind the music. Like we've been cool. Like he said, 3rd grade, 6th grade. So it's like it's even better when you got your family here with you, like supporting you, putting the battery in your back, helping you move forward. Like, you know, if somebody remains stagnant for a little bit, like another person keeps them in check. Like, now we got to keep going.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What's the dream? What's the dream cut? Oh, sorry, Mr. Williams, go.
Oh no, you good. You good. So I know being a group is usually a tough thing. And usually groups don't last a long time. So like whenever y'all guys agree on something, like how does that process work to where y'all can equally agree on something and move forward?
So, are you hearing me? Let me just interject for a second. They're not really a group. Each of them have their own solo career. But again, as I said, they kind of grew up together and they formed their company, which is Diversity. And basically, one of the end game where they're concerned is, again, being able to put out music together. So my goal as a manager, where the guys are concerned, is as Diversity, which is a clique. They're not really a group, but they make such good music together that one of my goal is to really try and do what we call a 2-for-1. And that's basically each of them have their own solo careers. They're all solo acts, but they make such good music together that I'm trying to get a situation where I can get them probably an album, 1-album deal, 2-album deal together. But at the same token, there's an open clause that they're able to basically do like what the Migos does. They're the Migos. In their case, they're a group. But in this case, these guys are not really a group. But I will bundle them as a group because they make such good music. But at the same token, Dream has his own career, DeRoyce has his own career, and J Dutch has his own career. If you understand, if I brought some level of clarity to your question.
No, that definitely makes sense. And it's very intelligent on your end because like you said, the Migos, they have their songs that they have together. And then, individually Offset has his songs.
Yep.
Everybody
Quavo has his song.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have their own collabs too. So I think it's really great.
Yep. So basically, it's the same blueprint what we're doing over here in terms of diversity. I mean, they grew up together. They make good music together. I mean, they can do a whole complete album together. Which, I mean, if you're in the music business, what better way if you could get literally two money? You know what I mean? Where they could get money as Diversity, but then they can get money as Dream. They can get money as DeRoyce, and they can get money as J Dutch. You know what I mean? That's the perfect situation to be in. You know what I mean? They can go out on the road, tour together as Diversity, but then they still can go out on the road on their solo act as DeRoyce, as Big Dream, as J Dutch.
Very smart. What's the dream collab? Who you guys would love to work with right now?
I know. Kendrick Lamar is definitely up there. Kendrick Lamar, and he's old school, but I want to make a song with Mace, like Mace from Bad Boys. I gotta make a song with Mace. I get.
Are you gonna pull him out from the pulpit?
Love to. For real. A lot of my style comes from his swag. Like, I like his swag, and I like to incorporate that type of swag within my music as well. So like I would definitely have a collab with him.
Me. Off the top of the head, Kid Cudi, Drake. P&B probably. Maybe Tory Lanez. Some other people I can't remember. There's so much people.
Now for me, basically Kendrick and Cole. That's the main for me. Like, I always looked up to them, especially since I'm trying to tap into that. But we all make different. Like, we're able to make groove and stuff like that. So, but for me, definitely Kendrick and Cole.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately the period is up. So I have to send these guys to their next class. Really want to thank Mark. Thank you so much for this, man. We really appreciate it.
No, not at all, man. Thank you for having us, man. Thank you. Yeah, man. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, man. Thank you, guys. Thank you guys for being here. Diversity.
God bless. Have a good one.
Take care.